What is up, loyal lads and ladies? My name is Midnight Wolf, and welcome to a Citizencon free prediction kind of stream. This will be kind of a very chill environment for you guys as we kind of go through our expectations, kind of what we expect, what we think Star Citizen 2954 will have to offer in this year's Citizencon presentation. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are as well. So I'm gonna kind of give it a little bit of time for you guys to hopefully hop on in. I'll try to watch the live chat as well, and just converse with you guys. But we'll get started here in just a little bit. The Night of the Wolf. Hey, how's it going, Axis? How are you doing, buddy? All right. While I do, I'm gonna do something really quickly. I think I can just wonder if this will work. I'm not sure if this is playing or not. So I'm gonna close that out. Hey, that's awesome to hear, man. I'm glad you're doing well and you're doing great. Let's see here. Title screen. Trying to find something real quick. See if I can't get some background music going for you guys. Here we go. Copy. Paste as reference, maybe? Is it going to play now? That is the question. Well, that's kind of odd. Here, let me do this. I got you guys. Let's just pull up Star Citizen real quick. I'll just put the launcher up for you guys, or like the background music from the launcher, because it's pretty solid. Whoa. It's kind of loud there. There we go. Kind of get the mood going for you guys. So, all right. Oh, we're getting things figured out here. It's been a minute, a little rusty. All right. So, welcome to the stream, you guys. So kind of things that we're gonna go over in this stream today. I plan on kind of covering my expectations of what I think we will see at Citizencon. We're gonna go through this little itinerary that they have posted on the RSI website. I think it'll be very solid to kind of go over it, and maybe throughout it just kind of go what is likely to be at that particular panel, and then maybe throw in a few like speculations type stuff or predictions or hopium and whatever kind of word you want to throw in there. But you know, things that we might could see. I think it'd be fascinating to kind of theory craft a little bit, and that's what part of that will be about. But I'll try to also focus on things that are a little bit more realistic too, not something that's crazy and mind-blowing. So anyways, so yeah, in 2 days is when we will actually get to see it. I'm very excited. I've been waiting a while for this moment because there was a lot that they promised in the last year, and I'm very happy with what they've gotten implemented into the game. There's still a lot left that they still haven't gotten into the game just yet. That is coming hopefully really soon, especially with the Evo tests of 4.0 and that or the other. But I also the stream also is for you guys as well. I want you guys to be as active as you possibly want, and if you guys have anything that you guys want to like, any inputs on anything that I go over in this stream, I am all ears, or in this case all eyes, reading your guys' comments to kind of see what you guys think for each panel. So I don't know, I might like go through a panel, kind of give my thoughts, and then maybe like pay attention to the comments, and if I see anything really good towards the end of what I have to say, I will then go through and read those comments in regards to what you guys think, and then whenever we finish that kind of discussion, then we'll go on to the next topic. So yeah, that kind of outlines everything there, but I also kind of have a bit of an announcement. It's kind of a small announcement, especially for somebody who's not very, who's not really been in the live stream situation for a while. Just kind of took a long break from everything, but with Citizencon around the corner, I kind of feel like this might be the time to really get back into the swing of things, if you will. But one of the things that I wanted to announce to you guys, and let me get it pulled up on the screen here. I'm planning on doing a watch along stream. I'm gonna have to get up really early for it. I live in Oklahoma, so I live in US Central Time, and which is the equivalent to Chicago time if you're not familiar with all the different time zones. I know Chicago is kind of a common time zone indicator there. So I'm planning on doing a watch along video the morning of at least the Saturday's part. I think there will be some pretty solid announcements, Squadron 42 related, so that's something that I really look forward to covering if it is what I'm thinking it's going to be. But yeah, it'll be at 4 o'clock US Central Time is when I will start the stream, and I think they will start the broadcast on the Twitch, the Star Citizen Twitch channel, I think at 4:30 a.m. US Central Time, which is 10:30 a.m. BST, which I think is, I really don't know what BST stands for. Maybe British Standard Time. That's kind of my thinking. But anyways, all that to say, I am planning on doing a watch along stream with you guys. So if you guys are willing to wake up super early with me and join me on the adventure, and you want to have somebody to watch the announcements with, by all means, you are more than welcome to. Doesn't it begin at 3 a.m.? So I believe it's 4 a.m. because I did the conversion. It starts at 3 if you are present, like if you're actually there. I think that's when they will open the venue. But in regards to all the stuff that is going to be streamed on Twitch, from what I understand, it's supposed to start at 4:30. So I could be wrong on that, and if I am, we will definitely move that time up, and I'll wake up a little bit earlier to verify, to make sure that nothing's going on. But definitely stay tuned for that, and I'll try to do a little bit more research if that is the case. But I'm pretty sure it's at 4 or 4:30 is when they will start the broadcast, at least here in Oklahoma. So yeah, so that's my big announcement in regards to what I am planning on doing. And depending on how the stream goes, if things go really well and smoothly, I might do day 2 as well, because there's going to be some pretty big announcements on day 2. that I look forward to hearing about. We'll see how that goes, because I do have personal things going on during the day of Sunday. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling on a little bit here, so let's go ahead and just get started with what I think Star Citizen or Citizencon 2954 has to offer this year, and how they could possibly top what they showed us last year, because there was a lot that they showed us, and a decent chunk of that that they showed us made it in. I'm gonna see if I can just okay. So there's like loud, and then there's like super loud. Let me turn the volume down on my headset. There we go. That'll help. All right. Let me know if the music is a little loud too. Like I'm always afraid of being washed out from that. So, all right. So let's get to the browser. All right. So as we can see, Citizencon will be in 2 days, 9 hours and 33 minutes. So that's when they will open up the venues, but I believe they will start the broadcast at 10:30 a.m. BST. And at least according to Google, if I do the conversion, it comes up to 4:30. So we're gonna start as soon as, you know, we'll start the actual streaming part at 10:30 during that time, or 4:30 rather. I'm already stumbling over my words. So let's kind of go over what we have in regards to the different panels, and then we'll kind of break them down a little bit here. So venue opens at 9 a.m. In Manchester's time zone. They will begin the panels at 11, starting with Brave New Worlds, introducing Genesis, the innovative suite of technologies and processes within Star Engine that breathe new life into truly immersive worlds, achieving the fidelity and scale required to fill an entire universe. At 1 o'clock, it'll be a social universe. It's the people you meet and the bonds you form that truly bring the verse to life. Dive into how we're evolving social features to maximize your adventures, from personal one-on-one interactions to massive gatherings with hundreds and even thousands of players. Then you have at 2:45, 2954, the cosplay competition by Toby. A fan favorite event returns where Star Citizen enthusiasts from around the verse showcase their most impressive game-inspired looks. During this part of the stream, I will probably either take a break. I might keep it like rolling, but this would be a good opportunity to kind of take a step back, and it may be a good discussionary time too. So we'll kind of see how I feel at this point of the stream. If I feel like I need a break, we'll take a break, a little intermission time. But if I'm feeling good, feeling fairly energized, then we will actually maybe discuss how things are going during that time. So that's a quick little note there. 3:30, Dress to Kill. So from high fashion to dynamic function, discover starware and exciting new character focused specializations that let you define your identity and take on the challenges ahead, including the return of a legendary friend from Citizencon's past. We'll definitely go over that a little bit here, just a little bit. All right, at 4:30 we have Beyond Pyro. To the fantastic reaches beyond Stanton and Pyro. Join us as we explore the exciting new frontiers of Star Citizen's persisting universe. And I see you playing Bagel. How's it going, man? I appreciate you. All right, and then at 5:30 is Redacted, and just about everybody knows what that's going to be about, but we'll go over that in just a little bit. And then you have the venue closes at 9 p.m. For day one, and so that is the universe we create. In day two, the destiny you forge. So you can kind of see the two sides of the same coin here on how they are framing this event. So you have all of the tools and stuff that they've crafted for Star Citizen, and now they're going to be talking about the tools that they're giving us to craft with. So that's a great segue, or a great way to kind of categorize their different days. So venue opens at 8 a.m., so it's an hour sooner, and starting at 10 a.m. you get to craft your home. Explore the fundamentals of crafting and base building, including how they combine to enable new opportunities for players and ultimately create the future of life among the stars. At 11:15, Captains of Industry. Uncover the ships and ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tools for base building in the verse, revisit a classic, and more. At noon, the Stars My Destination, Star Citizen 1.0, PvP, PvE, non-combat. What type of game is Star Citizen? If you want the answers, join us as we outline a high-level overview of Star Citizen 1.0 and what our intentions are for our epic shared universe. And then the venue closes at 2:30 p.m. and then Atmo Sports 2954 is from 4 to I guess midnight, if I'm understanding that. So all right, so that's Citizencon as a whole. Now we're going to kind of go ahead and break that down now and kind of like talk about what we think is going to happen. Once again, I just want to reiterate, if you're just now joining us as well, if you got, like, at any point of this of each one of these categories, if you guys have some input of what you think we will see, by all means use that live chat and down below, and whenever I'm finished with that particular point, I will look at the conversations that you guys have down in the live chat, and I will kind of engage with that as well. So starting with Brave New Worlds. So introducing Genesis, the innovative suite of technologies and processes within Star Engine that breathe new life into truly immersive worlds, achieving the fidelity and scale required to fill an entire universe. So, I mean, right off the bat, I think it's going to be very similar to how they started off Citizencon last year, where it was kind of like a great summary of everything that they've done up to that point, up to last year's Citizencon, and then also they threw in a couple of things that we would have see throughout the last year's Citizencon. So kind of it's like a summary of what they've already accomplished, and then also kind of a summary of what they're about to show us. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with this one. They may even like throw in a new animal that we've never seen before, but they will most certainly probably show off some other things, because it says breathe new life into truly immersive worlds. That almost sounds like we're gonna see some animals throughout whatever video they show. We might also get to see a glimpse, or like a really small taste of some future star systems like Nyx within this panel, but very brief, like just quick overview of them. So that's something that I would expect to see, just a quick little taste to get us really interested, to get us drawn in, and then later on in the Beyond Pyro panel, they'll probably go into a little bit more detail of what to expect. But yeah, it's probably going to be very similar to the Star Engine video that they showed us at the start of Citizencon last year. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they mean by the Genesis technology. I don't know if that's like a rebranding of Planet Tech. So instead of maybe calling it Planet Tech V5, they may have finally given it like a special name called Genesis. That might be what they're doing. I mean, it sounds like last year was the start of them branding Star Engine, and so instead of calling it Planet Tech, I think maybe they're just like, let's call it Genesis, as more of like a branding push for some sort of developer release of the Star Engine if they ever try to outsource it to other companies. But very fascinating. I think that we will definitely see some very interesting stuff in that. Maybe a glimpse at Levski a couple of times. They most certainly will probably go through Stanton a little bit with it and then transition to Pyro, and then towards the end is probably when we'll see like other systems like Nyx and the other, maybe even Magnus is probably a good thing that, or another possible system that we would see in Brave New Worlds. So yeah, I think it'll be fascinating. I hope to see a wide range of different fauna types. Like we've gotten the I can't even remember the birds now, but we got the birds from this past year. The first Boyd Tech, I think is what they call it. And then we also got the gosh, what are their names? I'm like already blanking on their names. Oh, the Copian. Yeah, the Copian with a K. So we got those. Is it the Merrick? Maybe it's the Merrick. I think that's the bird. So we got the Copians and the Merricks, and that's pretty much it. Even though in that first Star Engine trailer that they showed us last year, they showed the quasi grazers or whatever they call it, basically the star cows. So be fascinating to see if they've gotten those at a more complete state where they can actually release it very soon, maybe even in 4.0. But we might see another look at them. We might see space whales again, but later on we might even see another crazy animal, but I don't think they will show us this other animal until Dress to Kill. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. Yeah, is there anything that you guys can think of what you guys would think Brave New Worlds has? I'm very curious to hear from you guys, and if you not, then I will definitely move on. I mean, there's really not much more I think I could really say about it, just about that particular panel, just because Genesis is a brand new like terminology that we've never heard of. So it'd be interesting to see what that has to offer. So I'll keep an eye out in case you guys do want to go back to Brave New World, but we'll go ahead and keep this thing rolling, because I don't want to keep you guys held up on this. So social universe, it's the people you meet and the bonds you form that truly bring the verse to life. Dive into how we're evolving social features to maximize your adventures, from personal one-on-one interactions to massive gatherings with hundreds and even thousands of players. This is almost certainly org tools or new party system, probably a new look at an overhauled VoIP system. There might even be like personal inner thoughts updates in regards to NPCs that you interact with. Maybe I kind of picture it kind of like what Bethesda does with their NPCs. Like sometimes you can go up to an NPC and interact with them, and there'll be like a list of things that you can ask them or get information on. And not every NPC is a mission giver, but they may say, like, you can ask them something about the lore of the verse, and they may give you a response of what's going on in that universe. So I can maybe see them going a little bit into that with the social universe, but most definitely we will see org tools of some sort. I know they've been planning on doing org tools for a while, and it was one of the last things that they showed on one of their future plans in regards to road to release. Their one of their initial road to release Citizencon presentations that they showed years ago, and it it showed server meshing, and then like right after that was like org tools. Well, we were already dabbling into server meshing with all of the tests that entailed, so it kind of makes sense that we're finally getting an update to how we interact with one another. And I think that is a great thing, because it is a very jank, especially when you go on there and like half of the markers go away. So I would expect that they will hopefully get that working, where your party markers don't go away. Hopefully they get that 100% working and will work for this new social push, because that is very important to be able to know where everybody's at. Now, that being said, I hope they make it a little bit more localized. Like if somebody in your party is like clear across the universe, there could be like a filter that you could turn on to make it where they're visible. But always seeing their marker on screen, if you're looking in the direction of where they're at, is kind of a lot and then kind of annoying, especially if you're in a big party. So maybe a little bit more localized, but with the idea that you could actually find them. I don't know. That's something that I'm hoping to see with the new org tools that we will and party tools that we get in this social universe. I think that will be very, very interesting. Oh, you had a comment about Genesis. I've heard that Genesis is likely the tech for the animals. That's probably very likely. I think that the Genesis it might be the definitive like name for a specific aspect of the Star Engine. But my thinking is maybe the Planet Tech V5. That's kind of my prediction, but it might be a culmination of both, and maybe like Planet Tech V5, but then also with the that may include the animals and how they're able to get those fleshed out. Who knows, maybe it's a procedural tech for animals. That'd be interesting. What's up? So anyways, back to the social universe. So some of the things that I'm hoping to see in regards to the org tools, permissions systems. So I would really like it if when we're on a like a multi-crew ship, that if there are people that you don't really know very well, or you just met, or they're new recruits to your org, it'd be very nice if you could set permissions on which rooms they could go into, which rooms or what doors they can open, what cabinets they have access to, what inventories they have access to, that sort of thing. Let's say you're funny. I know her personally, so it's kind of funny. It makes it a little bit more nerve-wracking when you see people that you actually know. But anyways, so yeah, just various org tools like that would be really cool to see in the game, because especially permissions related, because that I think that's a very important thing when you're trying to make a game that's about group gameplay, about group interaction. You're almost always going to run into people who take advantage of that, or they do things that they shouldn't, and being able to limit that in some way, shape, or form would be always great. Now that, I'm not saying that they're going to show off hacking gameplay by any means, but that will kind of bring in a cool aspect to the game if they can get hacking into the game at some point where people can then maybe hack into the permissions. I think that is very important for the gameplay of what hacking even is. So, and I think that no area should be completely barred off from everybody. Like, everybody should be able to gain access to just about every spot in Star Citizen. The thing is, though, is like, it's got to be very difficult and very challenging, obviously, like with the crafting and base building that they're going to go over in the future. Very important that they make getting into those bases extremely hard, but not impossible. I think there's got to be a good balance there. And one of the ways to get in would be hacking. And so that should be applied to like permissions as well. And because then you have situations where like in an org, you might have like espionage or, you know, like traitors, people who purposely come into your organization, they climb the ranks, and then they it's for the purpose of disrupting your org, which may to many seem like it's griefing, but I think it's, you know, something that is an interesting aspect to it. It makes it kind of risky to give people permissions and have them within your org. But I think that having ways that people can kind of force their way in is always a thing that should be an option. But how do you monitor that as an organization? I mean, there's definitely going to need to be tools to help you monitor people that are on your ship, and so that's kind of where the org tools could be shown off. But that's probably something that's a lot further along. I don't expect to see like that detailed of permissions. I could just see them being like, all right, you can grant access to this particular rank of people in your org. You can give them access to a specific doorway, and then they can then go into that room. And then it could be up to the players on whether or not anybody monitors those doors to make sure none of the people that are not supposed to go through those rooms or through those doors, make sure that they're to block people like that from entering. So stuff like that. Also, with the whole radar and scanning type stuff with the FPS, being able to scan the people that are on your ship, to be able to get that kind of information of like what their rank is, what their name is, of course, and just various information like that, whether or not they have a crime stat on them or a bounty on them, which I hope is two different things at some point. I think bounties and crime stat should be two separate things, but bounty then can tie into the crime stat system, obviously, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. So that's something that I would love to see in a social universe. I think that is very important. I'm trying to think of other things that would be very good. Obviously, just communications in general and group chat would do wonders, especially like right now the in-game chat system has it set up to where you can call other people from clear across the universe, and it will even bring up a little window that shows your character's face, or shows the person that you've called. It will show their face on the screen. But you can only do like one-on-one interactions with that. I don't think you could do like group voice chats like that. So I would say having a group chat system in the game would do wonders. I think that would be great. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a video chat where you see everybody's faces, but just being able to hear each other all natively in the game would be amazing, because I eventually want to get away from having to use like Discord for all of the communication stuff. I love it when a game actually takes the time and inputs their own audio chat system in, like, fully integrated into the game. So having the ability to do that would be amazing. And so that's something that I expect to see is like a more in-depth chat system, where you can actually interact with other people, and bring them into a party chat atmosphere from the actual game, instead of being like, hey, here's the link to our Discord if you want to join our chat. Like, you can literally just add them, and then boom, they're in your party chat. But I also hope that, like, with party chat and global chats, or this, that, or the other, I hope they do some tweaking in that regards as well. Like with the global chat, I think that it needs to turn into more of a local chat only. Maybe just by the planet. Like, if you're on a planet, that should be its own chat, and kind of do away with the whole system chat. But that also means that we probably need to have like a job board or a mission board for players, so that way there is some interaction from people clear across the universe. But it should be a limited, like, communication, and then, or maybe like an actual social app that you go to get to an expanded. But I think anything that's on your HUD should be more local information. You should have to pull up your map or pull up other apps to then get the more broad information, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm hoping for in that regards. But another thing with that is, let's say you are in a party chat, I would hope that there's a seamless way to be able to chat locally as well. Like, I don't want to have to, like, leave my party chat to then be able to have people that are surrounding me be able to hear me. So if there's like a keybind or a button that I could push, that I can hold it down or whatever, or toggle, that sets it up to where I can still communicate to other people, I would really love to see something like that. So those are some features that I'm really hoping to see in a social universe. So if you guys have any other suggestions on what you guys would like to see, or ideas, definitely let me know about a social universe. But we'll kind of go ahead and move on from this. And once again, I will go back if you guys have kind of your own things that you would like to mention. 2954 cosplay competition by Toby. So that one, once again, I don't really plan on watching that one. I mean, I might, if I stick around during that segment of the Citizencon, I will definitely have it playing in the background. I'm not going to be focused too much on it. I'll probably have the audio turned off completely during that segment of it. And if I am still up for it, to stick around during that particular panel, it would be a great time to just interact with you guys, discuss what you guys think of the show so far, even though there's really not a whole lot. I mean, they're probably crammed full of information in Brave New Worlds and Social Universe, but there might still be a good amount of stuff that we could talk about during the 2954 cosplay competition. So we'll just kind of see how we'll kind of gauge that one based on how we feel, because that would be a good time to kind of take an intermission time, and then I could go come back whenever Dress to Kill comes up. So that's kind of where I'm just gonna leave that, but I'll let you guys know during the stream if we stick around for like a interaction point of that. So anyways, Dress to Kill, from high fashion to dynamic function, discover starwear. It almost looks like Star Wars, so they should have like somehow figured out a way to like put like a little Easter egg there. That'd be hilarious. Discover starwear. an exciting new character-focused specialization that let you define your identity and take on the challenges ahead, including the return of a legendary friend from Citizencon's past. All right, so this one's gonna be interesting. So high fashion to dynamic function. So we most certainly will see a lot of the different clothing items that they've been working on, especially like for Pyro. But also maybe we'll see some stuff in regards to future stuff, like future systems, if you will. In fact, let's look at the progress tracker. There was one thing that I noticed whenever I was getting kind of prepared for this, in regards to some features for certain things. Oh yeah, here we go. So here we have the rough and ready faction outfits. So developing multiple outfit variants for the Pyro gang, rough and ready. So I would imagine, you know, there would be certain outfits from these different gangs, and it looks like, according to the tracker, the development from it ended earlier this month. So I would imagine we're probably going to see the fruits of that labor. There was that one, and there was like one other, or maybe two other ones. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's Headhunters. So there's another faction within Pyro. So we'll probably see some more clothing types and outfits from these various different factions within Pyro. I know they're trying to stay away from the Pyro conversation on the Citizencon, so we may not hear that much about these. But the one that I do kind of expect to see at least concept art for is Frontier clothing. Generating concepts for Frontier style clothing for players and NPCs. And I want to say there were certain systems, and correct me if I'm wrong, that were considered the Frontier systems. So they're the kind of the systems that there's only a handful of landing zones, and pretty much the rest of it is just kind of open terrain, you know, kind of an open landscape. I'm wondering if that's what these are for, like, you know, just clothing that kind of represents just a general, like, oh, a general Joe out in the wilderness kind of thing, where they're living on their homestead, they're living on the frontier. And so, you know, I could definitely see us seeing some concept now. And notice it does say concepts. So, and it finished at the beginning of this month. So these are probably different styles that we will see in this panel, I would imagine. I think generating, I just read that. I think that we'll see many different types of clothing, which, you know, I'm all for. I'm a big guy when it comes to like the rule of cool when it comes to like clothing and armor and stuff like that. So I probably care about that kind of stuff a little too much when it comes to games, but I think it's a great thing to see that we'll be getting more unique styles. There's already a ton of different armor and clothing already in the game as is, so to see a lot more coming in is always refreshing. And I, you know, obviously the more there is, the more diverse players will be. You won't see the same armor on like 100 different people. You'll see people just wearing all kinds of different stuff in different configurations, different combinations of stuff. So obviously the more there are, the better. So I definitely am looking forward to seeing the different new clothing that they have in mind in hopefully the near future. But then they also talk about let's see, high fashion to dynamic function. So dynamic function is definitely a good keyword. I know in the last year's Citizencon, they showed some interesting things in regards to clothing. One of which was pockets. So they had like customizable pockets that you could put on different clothing, so they could have like a shirt could have more inventory than it normally would. Or your pants could have like little gadget pockets, if you will. You could be like Batman and have just a bunch of different pockets on you a little utility belt, if you will. But you know, stuff like that. So dynamic function, I could see that being a big thing that they're going to really highlight, is just clothing that serves purpose. Clothing modularity, clothing maybe even over armor, stuff like that would be really fascinating. So we'll see how that works. But then people, they're also talking about like specializations, for example. So this is kind of where things get interesting. I think this is where we might get a good presentation on what they mean by you're no longer allowed to wear heavy armor in a cockpit, or any armor for that matter, or maybe you're only allowed light armor while sitting in a cockpit. Like that's eventually what they're going to try to do, I think, from what I understand, is make it to where there's certain suits or certain armor for different specific things. And they really want to separate, like, all right, if you're flying a ship, you're going to wear probably a flight suit or undersuit. But whenever it's time to, you know, leave the ship, then depending on your environment, depending on your profession, will determine what armor sets you use. So if you're going out mining, you're probably going to wear something that is suited for mining, that can hold a big backpack that you can put all your gems and stuff in, which they already kind of have that in the game right now. But they're probably going to put a big emphasis on that with other things like combat. And more specifically, I could see not only new armors or a bigger push on those types, but we might also see another very important thing that people have been wanting, and that is the Titan suits. So this is where I think we might get a quick look or a quick sneak peek of Titan suits within the game. I think we will see it either I think it'll be definitely in engine. It may just be gray box. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that with it being in Squadron 42, they should be done by now, because Squadron 42 is probably inevitable of when that releases. But the Titan suits would be a really great thing that will help segue into the next panel, and I'll explain that in just a second. But notice it says discover starware and exciting new character-focused specializations that let you define your identity and take on the challenges ahead, including the return of a legendary friend from Citizencon's past. So this is where I think things get very interesting in regards to challenges ahead. And I think of maybe boss fights. That's kind of what I would consider maybe a challenge, especially when you're talking about like what equipment or gear that you're going to be taking with you. And I got to thinking of like what boss fights would be something that you'd probably see in Star Citizen. And this is where the legendary friend from Citizencon's past kind of comes to mind. And I'm not the only person who's thought this, so I'm not going to even claim that I had this revelation that this is going to be it. But I personally think that this friend is the sandworm. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to talk about all their different clothing, all their different, functionality and also fashion, this, that, or the other. But then they'll show off the Titan suit and it working, or maybe even the concept of it, or whatever, this, that, or the other. But then that's when they show off the sandworm and maybe like a quick little demo fight of the player and the sandworm, or it might just be concept. But that's how they will bring in the sandworm, is through the advertisement of the Titan suit. Then, so because we're talking about the sandworm at this point, I think that that's a great segue into the next panel, which is Beyond Pyro, where they're talking about different worlds. And that's where, real quick, in regards to my thoughts on the frontiers clothing. I think that's kind of where this comes from, because they call some of these other worlds frontiers. But when it comes to Beyond Pyro, let's just go ahead and read it real quick. To the fantastic reaches beyond Stanton and Pyro, join us as we explore the exciting new frontiers of the Star Citizen's persistent universe. So that's why I think that's another reason why I think we'll see the sandworm. I can't remember what system the sandworm is from, but it might be that we actually get to see whatever system that is. So wherever the sandworm is going to be encountered, we will probably see more information in the Beyond Pyro. And that's just a hunch that I have. But speaking of the different locations, like within Star Citizen, I mean, obviously there's a ton. Like you can see a huge amount of different systems that are planned at some point. Here's Sol, the solar system. That's where we are currently. But let's see if I can find it now. I had it at one point. Here's Pyro. Where is it? Here's Stanton. All right, so here's Stanton. Here's the system that the current game is taking place. So we already know about it. We know Arcor, Hurston, Microtech, and Crusader. We all know everything about those places. But then 4.0 will introduce, let's see if we can find the jump point here. Here it is. So if we go through the jump point, it takes us to Pyro. So it sounds like they're trying to stay away from talking about Pyro, because they've been talking about Pyro at the last like 3 or 4 Citizencons. So I think, you know, they're done talking about Pyro. But there's a bunch of different star systems that branches off of Pyro. So any one of these could be another, like the next system that we see in this panel or in this showcase. So there's Terra, there's Cano, there's let's see, there's Castra, Stanton is where we came from, Hadrian, there's Nyx, there's Oso, so a bunch of different options there. Now, a thing to keep in mind, and let me back out of Pyro. So if we scroll out, we can kind of see the different jump points. So we gotta try to, like, I guess, speculate a little bit here. But it's, I think, kind of important to kind of point out. We don't really, I don't know if there's really anything in these parts of the universe that is worth exploring just yet, in regards to what they've already got established. It will come at some point, hopefully, and I'm sure it'll be full of really interesting stuff. But I think we can kind of use a little bit of deductive reasoning on 2 different potential paths that we can see them going in regards to the next 3, 4, 5 systems that could be implemented after we get Pyro. And I think probably the first logical step is probably Nyx. I think Nyx, you know, they've already got most of it done. They already had Levski in the game at some point. Whenever I first jumped into Star Citizen, I actually got to go to Levski. And so, but they took that whole moon out, or planet. I think it was a moon, actually. They took that whole landing area out because it's actually from Nyx. And so they've already got parts of it done, and they've probably had to, of course, update it and bring it up to speed with like Pyro and Stanton since then, of course. but that's definitely going to be the most likely next system that we see. But then, you know, let's take it a few steps further. Let's kind of be a little bit bold. I don't think Nyx is the only one we're going to see. I think they're going to talk about at least 3 new systems beyond Pyro. So of course, we got Nyx. I think the next logical one that makes a little bit more sense is probably Odin. Because from what I understand, Squadron 42 actually takes place within Odin. So we will probably get that really soon after Nyx or at the same time as Nyx. So I would imagine they're probably going to show us a good chunk of Odin. However, they probably don't want to show us too much of it within this panel because they probably don't want to, excuse me, they probably don't want to spoil too much of Squadron 42, especially with the locations and stuff that Squadron 42 has. But I think the next logical thing too is probably Bremen from Nyx. If we're gonna just keep on going, like we might like take a pit stop at Odin, or like that might be one branch. But I think Nyx, rather than going in one particular line, I could definitely see us branching off and going a different route. And here's kind of why. So we have Bremen, and then we have Vega. So I think these are likely systems that we will see relatively soon. Because from what I understand, Vega is another system that is, at least at some point in Squadron 42, at least from what I could tell about the story so far that they've revealed to us, because I know they mentioned like the Battle of Vega quite often. So I could see us also going to Vega very, very soon. So that's why I think we'll probably see Bremen and Vega after Nyx, and probably Odin as well, or hopefully even at the same time. If they could dish out multiple systems at once, that's even better. And then here's kind of another thing, another reason why I think we're gonna go in this direction. And they might still branch off at a different point to get to the same destination, but they could go one of 2 different ways from Vega. Either come back, or after Vega, they could go one of 2 different ways in regards to what I think is the likely scenario. But we'll probably see Kano maybe, or we would see Null. One of those 2 I think will be next after Vega. And then either Croshaw or Davian would be the next one after that. And then we'll probably see Seoul, because I think that's a place that they will want to get to relatively soon after they get Planet 5 tech out, or after they get the Planet V5 stuff done. I think that's when we will see more planets with multi-biomed locations. So I think we will eventually get to Earth and see what 2954 Earth looks like, or whatever year it's in during that time that we actually get to see it. Probably another 5 to 10 years before that, if we go the route that I just laid out for you guys. But they would probably want the Sol system to be, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So either way, it'd be 9. So I would say that they probably will shoot for the solar system being our 9th or 10th system. I could definitely see that being like the first 10 within the first 10 systems that they try to do. And I think that would be a big undertaking, trying to have a futuristic Earth with multiple different cities and multiple different landscapes and biomes and this, that, or the other. So that's kind of why I think they're waiting until like the 9th or 10th system before they get to that point. But that, I think, is a very likely scenario that we will see, is the Soul system being probably the 9th or 10th system, but that's kind of what I am expecting. So Nyx, but you know, it makes sense that they would go to Nyx because look at how many different possible routes they could do. I don't know what their plan is. They could like go to Pyro and then try to do Nyx and then Castro or this, that, or the other, but I think it just makes the most sense that they try to stick to Star Citizen and Squadron 42 stuff, since that's stuff that they're already working on. And then from there is probably when we'll start to see them branching out. And I think at that point they will have it very established on what their planet tech is capable of doing, including multi-biomed, and then that's when they will start to pivot down to trying to get to the Sol system, because I'm sure they really want to make Earth at some point. I think that'd be really cool. So that's my prediction in regards to the paths of their development. But I don't know, we'll see. I really hope that we at least see 3 to 4 new systems, either in a concept phase or actually like in a solid development stage. I would be really sad if they just show off Nyx in this panel and that's it. I mean, let's look at how much time they have for that particular panel. So they got an hour, so there's really not probably a whole lot that they can really go through in that short amount of time. So it probably will be just 2 or 3 systems now that I see the time frame that they have allotted to it. So yeah, but that's kind of something that I'm speculating on completely. I have no idea. I definitely think we will definitely for sure see Nyx. I think the guaranteed one. Just after that will be interesting to see what they decide to show off. But I hope to see a good range of stuff to see what they have planned in the near future, and see how fast they can dish these out too as well. If they will actually outline what it takes to make these systems and how long they expect each system to take. Because then not only do you have to worry about the visuals, but then you also have to worry about the emissions too and how those will scale. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. So maybe they'll show at some point during Citizencon maybe more procedural stuff in regards to missions. Who knows? But that'd be interesting. But I think that's gonna do it for the Beyond Pyro segment. But if you guys have anything that you want to add or you think Beyond Pyro will entail, definitely let me know and I'll go back. And that kind of goes for any one of these things too. So then we get to the redacted, and I think there's no way to not think that this is Squadron 42 related. This is almost certainly Squadron 42. I think everybody, you know, the moment you look at it, you're like, that's Squadron 42. There's no way it's not. UEE, that's a, you know, I feel like a pretty decent indicator. However, UEE is the governance over a lot of the different systems. So within Star Citizen so as well. So I mean, it's not a guarantee, but it's probably Squadron 42. And to be more specific, I definitely expect maybe a demo. I'm really hoping it's not the first mission, because I don't want the first mission to be like spoiled. Well, I don't want the thing that kicks off this story to be revealed. I'm trying to know as little information about the story as I possibly can before I play it. And so if they show a demo of that, that'll be a little bit disappointing of the first thing, or the thing that kicks off the story. I don't know. Maybe it may not even get to that point yet. Who knows? It could be a very long chapter 1. But I'm hoping that they keep the spoilers to a minimum within that section of it, because that would be very unfortunate. I definitely expect there to be probably a celebrity or celebrities, and I think I've heard other people give their predictions on which celebrity they think they will be there. Um, I've heard that Mark Hamill's a likely candidate, which is probably it. But I'm going to be different. I'm going to say it's probably going to be Henry Cavill. I think that, you know, he's a little bit younger than Mark Hamill, so he's probably going to be a little bit more full of energy. Now that being said, I don't know, he may not have the personality for that, you know, to really hype up a game. He might. I've never really seen him just out and about, so like I don't know what his character is other than in a movie. So it'll be fascinating to see. But I don't know. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Henry Cavill is going to be the guest who maybe hypes some of this up. So yeah, there's that. And then of course the release date. Now I'm curious to see how they go about unveiling it. I think it will be a specific date. I know they don't really like to give out dates, and so maybe it might be more of a release window. But it really does feel like Squadron 42 is close enough to where they can feel pretty confident. There was one deliverable that I saw, I think it had to do with locations, or no, it was chapters. So I find it fascinating. Yeah, it was this, because it has to do with Squadron 42 and chapter strike team, strike team, you know, these different strike teams. And it shows that progress will end in January. So if that's the case, I would say you probably would want like 3, maybe 4 months of marketing at the very least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 6 months. It would be more like 6 months. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say March or April would probably be a pretty good release window. So they would probably say Q2 if they did a window, or maybe Q1. But with the idea, because usually when they say Q whatever, it's almost always at the end of that Q quarter. So I'm gonna say they're probably gonna shoot for March, but it'll probably be more like April. There might be like a month delay or something like that, or for whatever reason, or a couple months delay. So April, I think, is a good sweet spot. I could see them maybe launching Squadron 42 in April, but that may be a hot release month for a different game that's coming out. I'm not sure, but it really feels like they're getting close, and so I'm expecting at the very least maybe a release month. So they'll, if not a month, then at least a quarter. So I'm gonna say April, and for kicks and giggles, let's say April 9th. I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the month is when they will release it. Seems like a weird release time for a game, but I don't know. I don't really focus too much on release windows or times for games to really know a good prediction there. But that's gonna be my prediction. April 9th will be the release date. But yeah, that'd be interesting. So I would say, yeah, I've heard some people and their predictions be like, man, how cool would that be if during Citizencon they're like, all right, it's live now and Squadron 42 is ready to play. I don't think they're gonna do that, and here's why. First of all, you have people who bought physical copies of the game, so you wouldn't have any time to ship those out unless you somehow shipped those games or the physical copy before Citizencon, so that people have that physical copy and then just turn it on. But then that kind of removes the element of surprise, and so that would be pointless for them to do it that way. Then the next thing would be, or the next reason why they wouldn't do that is marketing. You can't just be like, all right, by the way, it's live, and then expect a whole bunch of people to buy into it. I mean, you will get a good chunk of people, but having a period of time that can build hype and excitement it does wonders for sales. And so there's a reason why there's always like a release date that's a few months away at the very least. So they want to have plenty of time to market this thing and get it in commercials or billboards or whatever. And so I don't expect Squadron 42 to be like, all right, it's live now, for that very reason. So yeah, so that kind of covers that. So Squadron 42 is most likely this particular panel, the redacted one, and it's going from 5:30 to 9 at the latest they could possibly be, but I would imagine they'll probably have a couple of hours built into that for just being able to walk around the venue, because they have community-led stuff that goes on that takes place during this time as well. Especially if they do have a demo, they'll, probably players will spend the rest of the evening playing the demo if they have a bunch of those set up. So I would imagine we'll definitely see some sort of gameplay of it. I'm really hoping it's not a whole lot, though. I just want to reiterate that I don't want a whole lot of spoilers. It's like what they showed us last year for Squadron 42 was actually like perfect. It gave you just enough information to be really curious as to what the heck is going on, but you have no idea what's going on. If that makes sense. Because they kind of dabble like, oh, the Battle of Vega, so that there was a battle that took place, and it's like, okay, there must have been something crazy that happened during that battle. Is that going to be showcased in this game? Are we going to actually get to experience that? Are we going to be a part of that? Is that what kicks off this game? Is the Battle of Vega the thing that kind of gets us started? So it'll be fascinating to see what that all entails. So that's why I want to be surprised when I actually play it, and I definitely plan on doing a playthrough with very little commentary. Like, if there's a time where there's nothing going on, that would probably be when I would give the commentary. But anyways, that's way down the line, and whenever April 9th if that happens. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's kind of what I have expected for day one. Is pretty much that. I don't expect anything more crazy than that. I think that's pretty straightforward in regards to what they have to show us. I guess kind of one quick thing that popped in my head in terms of dress to kill. I think it kind of in tandem with like Starcloth and Starwear. I think those kind of will go in hand to hand. So they'll probably show more of their awesome fancy Starcloth simulation and all that stuff. Maybe how they are optimizing it or made it optimized, this, that, or the other. So I would imagine that's something that we'll see probably more, because they love their Starcloth. So anyways, that was a quick little thing that just popped in my head about earlier. So now we are on to day 2, and once again I want to reiterate, so my stream where I'm going to show it or live stream this will for sure cover day 1. We'll see how the stream goes for day 2, because it is on a Sunday, so it may affect certain things, so I may not be able to do a stream for that. But if the day 1 does really well, then I will make an exception and actually do it, because there's some pretty exciting stuff in day 2. And honestly, probably at least on the Star Citizen side of things, day 2 probably looks to be the best type of stuff. So I would really like to stream day 2. And if I can't stream it live, I will most likely do a stream that afternoon, maybe. So we'll see how that goes, how that day goes. At some point I will stream day 2, but it may not be live, so we'll just have to wait and see. But venue opens at 8, so it opens an hour earlier than day 1. So at 10 o'clock we have crafting your home. So explore the fundamentals of crafting, base building, including how they combine to enable new opportunities for players and ultimately create the future of life amongst the stars. Hey, that's a phrase that's familiar on this channel. So yeah, you can bet when they get base building in, life among the stars will really kick off again. That I will promise you guys that. So that series will definitely come back during that time, but hopefully it'll come back sooner than that. I'm thinking maybe 4.0 might be the time to dust off the HOSAS controllers. So exploring the fundamentals of crafting and base building. So I mean, right off the bat, we're going to look at crafting and base building. I would imagine they'll probably have a lot more involved with the crafting side of things. I would hope that they have a lot of different assets ready to go for the crafting. It'll be fascinating to see what methods they use. Is it going to be like kind of like Minecraft days where you had to put the ingredients in a certain like layout to get the armor or tool that you want? Probably not, but it'd be interesting. But it'd probably be like, all right, here's material within your inventory, here's the stuff that you can craft, or here's what you have blueprints for. And so then you probably just click on whatever that you want, and then it will give you an output of stuff. So hopefully we see a really good layout, a great UI, plenty of filters, searching mechanics, and just overall a good user experience for crafting. I think that it'd be really nice to really see how that is demonstrated. I hope that we see something. I mean, we already have basic crafting of the vulture. I think you craft a couple of things with the vulture, and yeah, it's very important that they get that done right, so that people are able to do things efficiently and do things the right way, you know, like quickly. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have to show. You know, there's really not a whole lot I have to say about crafting other than I'm really excited for it. I think that it'll bring a whole new dynamic to the game, especially if you can craft gear and armor and weapons, whatever it is that is going to help you. I mean, like this could range from anywhere from armor and guns to even medical stuff. So we might actually see like a new profession come into play with this demonstration, where we might actually see like a scientist. And by scientist I mean like somebody who's able to craft medications, and who knows, maybe we'll see different medications that can do different effects or different temporary effects. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting. So I don't expect that much stuff because we only have an hour and 15 minutes in regards to crafting, but I think that'd probably be something that'd be interesting. Is like a science aspect of it, where we actually see other things other than just armor and weapons. But also, of course, you have your base building too, which is going to be a game changer, literally. Base building is probably my most anticipated feature of all of Star Citizen. If you separate core tech from gameplay in regards to most anticipated things, like obviously like server meshing has been the thing that I've been waiting for so long, and I know a lot of pretty much everybody else has, because it's been like the thing that's held up all of the gameplay. And so the biggest thing that I look forward to in terms of gameplay is base building, because that is your end game. That is the thing that you're probably going to spend most of your time building up towards, or building, like literally building. You're going to probably, like, it gives you purpose, it gives you a goal. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is actually having something that I'm working towards, other than a brand new ship or having a bunch of AUEC, or in 1.0 sense UEC, which will be interesting if that's the currency name that they go with. But base building is, like, I think the core gameplay that will turn Star Citizen into the game that many of us have envisioned, that, you know, you can actually, you know, live amongst the stars. And I think what draws me the most is the idea that, like, my land will be my land. And I hope they stick to that. I hope that they're like, all right, you claim this land, nobody else can claim it. Because let's face it, there is so much land mass that's available that they said that if you take that, I think it's 8x8 kilometer radius, they said that you could fit everybody on Hurston, every player on Hurston alone. So I want it to be that if I claim a place, that is my place and nobody else's. I think that would really be very cool and very interesting. Like, I'm talking like instancing too. Like, I don't want it to be where in this instance that's my base, but then in somebody else, in another instance, that's also somebody else's base. Like, I want it to be my place. Like, that was one of the things that they said that they were gonna do. I hope they stick to that game design. I hope that that is something that is like a priority in their base building landscape, or their base building blueprint, if you will. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see in regards to this, is like a further explanation of what they have from the concept that they showed in last year's Citizencon to this year's, and like, obviously I hope to see more progress, and hopefully we'll see an actual demonstration, at least like a basic one, where they use the Rastar tool, a consumer version of it or a player version of it, because they use the Rastar tool for their stuff to craft the different landing zones and different settlements within Star Citizen. So they're planning on using that same tool for the base building, or at least that was the original plan. So I'm hoping that we get a really good in-depth view of that and how that will all entail. Who knows, maybe we'll actually see something new in regards to equipment, like a drone, for example. So that would help you with the overhead view and make it lore friendly, other than having a third-person camera. Even though Star Citizen already has a third-person camera, that kind of breaks that immersion a little bit. But having a drone that you can actually use to have like a free look of your base, to be able to place buildings like that and make it lore friendly in that regards, is really cool. So I hope to see maybe a first iteration of base, or of drones even. I think that'd be really cool. I hope to see, well, they'll probably at least concept what like org stuff would look like. I don't expect that in the first iteration of base building. It'd be kind of cool have org bases, especially if it goes in tandem with the social universe panel that they discuss in regards to org tools. But you know, having a place that is owned by an organization rather than an individual would be kind of fascinating. I think that a place that everybody could go to within your organization, especially if you're a big org, and be like a social hub for you guys, a place to kind of just hang out, especially if they include like little mini games like pool tables and arcade machines and beat my high score kind of thing. Stuff like that would be really cool to see. I don't think that they will actually show us that type of stuff, but I think that they will at least show a concept of what that would look like in regards to how an org plays into that. But probably what we're gonna see is, and this is kind of where I'm thinking is like for sure what we will see, at least in-game working prototype, is, excuse me, one little hub. So it'll probably be kind of similar to like the old Jump Town, or the, you know, the little outposts throughout the verse that you can come across that are just like those little standalone little shacks, if you will. They have like sometimes 1 to like 4 different rooms attached to it. That's kind of something that I'm kind of expecting, and you can probably claim a spot. I don't know if it's going to be your spot necessarily. It may be the instance thing that I hope we don't get, but where it's based off of the server that you're on. So I'm really hoping that, you know, they show that it's yours, but you know that this first iteration of it will probably be server bound, just for now, until they do get server meshing fully implemented and fully working, and dynamically meshing, and the matchmaking system to where you can actually go back to the same instance that you were in, or the same shard that you were in prior, or whatever you place your base in. So that's kind of what I'm expecting, but is just a very basic, like, you can plop down a shelter, you can plop down maybe a hangar even, because I mean, if you can't summon a ship from your house, that'll probably be a very messed up first iteration of base building. I don't want, like, you're gonna want to be able to have access to your ships, and so having a hangar with your little hab would be really nice, even if it's just a landing pad, but like a landing pad that can, you know, drop down and then come back up, that's exposed. You know, that would work too, if that's an easier, quicker way to get base building into the game, and still be able to summon your ships and stuff. And then maybe, yeah, I think that's probably a good outline of what we will see. Really, it's just that, and then they may give us like a tentative date. I know a lot of people are a little picky about dates when it comes to like when we would see base building, or at least the first iteration of it, but you kind of have to give some sort of like deadline, or not necessarily a deadline, but expectation. And that, I think that's what a lot of people get hung up on, is they give out these dates or these release windows, and then people get all bent out of shape and like, oh, this is, you promised us and you didn't deliver. It's like, no, this is what they're telling us is the thing that they're focusing their development on. If you look at what they tell us as in regards to dates as their goals rather than actual deadlines, I think that will kind of like, that will help simmer those expectations, those unhealthy expectations, and you won't get disappointed. You know, it's like they're telling us basically what they're going to be working on, and then that's what I like about being told these deadlines is, all right, we can see how serious they are about this feature depending on what part of the quarter they plan to release it. Obviously, if it's something that they say is most likely Q4, you can bet that's not going to come that year. If they say Q3, it's probably not going to make it in the year. But if they say, all right, base building Q2 of next year, I would expect it sometime next year. I would expect it sometime in 2025. So it may not be as early as we want. It'll probably be, if they say Q2, it would probably actually be more like late Q3 to Q4 maybe. But anytime they say Q3, Q4, I would say it's probably not coming. But especially if they say Q1, it will probably be in. but that's kind of what I'm expecting. They'll probably just be like, hey, expect it Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year is probably what they're going to say. But don't trust them and don't get your hopes up. Don't hold them to that. Expect that it's just something that they are working towards and not anything more. So that's my advice to you guys. So that covers crafting. Crafting your home. So base building and all that stuff. I could probably go on and on and on about in hours for that, but I don't think you guys want to hear me talk about that for hours. So, captains of industry. So this is our ship panel. And this is kind of a controversial panel of every single year because, you know, it's coming. They're gonna release some concepts for purchasing, and the thing that I have to say to that is, cool, good. Any way that they can fund this project and keep it going, the better. I don't even really like the idea of there being a 1.0. I with this game being a live service game, I don't feel like there truly ever will be a 1.0. I mean, there will be, like, officially, like a patch will be called 1.0 at some point, and we'll go over that later. But they're gonna have, like, this is a live service game, and if it's not gonna be funded one way, it's gonna be funded a different way. And so these ship sales are great, because if you have the money, if you have ridiculous amounts of money that you don't mind throwing at this game or at this project, then more power to you. But you putting money towards that means that I get to play the game for free, or, you know, other than of course the starter package that I bought in. Now I personally bought a few upgrades since my starter package, but I don't have the money to spend like $1,000 on a Bengal or whatever, a Bengal carrier or whatever. I don't have that kind of money, but somebody does, and that money is going towards the funding of this amazing project, and that means they will continue to be able to build off of this project and keep going. But you stop these the ships, and boom, it's just there's no more funding, and then now they're gonna have to resort to other things, such as subscription models. So anyways, with that being said, I think there's probably interesting things. Let me read this one. Captains of industry: uncover the ships and ground vehicles. So we'll see some ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tool for base building in the verse. Revisit a classic and more. So I definitely think that we will probably see, at the very least, a gray boxed version of the Galaxy, since that's like probably going to be one of the main base building ships that a decent amount of people would get their hands on, because the more expensive one, the Pioneer, that one, that one's gonna be hard to get because of the price tag on that one. But yeah, the Pioneer would be probably showcased in some way or shape or form. It would be a gray box or white boxed version of it, but I would expect probably more just concept for that ship, even though they've kind of concepted it for a while. But there's also a couple of other small vehicles that will serve the purpose of building your base. So I would imagine that those will probably be shown off and probably even finished, maybe, and ready to go for base building. So I know there's like some sort of like big ground vehicle that they showed off in like a white box phase concept art, maybe. And then I heard that somebody was kind of expecting maybe the mule would get reworked for something base building related. So who knows? That'd be fascinating if they figure something out with that and give that ground vehicle an actual purpose. But revisiting a classic and it will probably be the Connie. I've heard a lot of people that seems to be the wow, I can't even talk. The overarching thing, or the, what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. Overall consensus of the community. I think many people think it's going to be the Connie or the Constellation. Maybe like a rework for it. So that'll be interesting if they do that. Here's a thought. What if we see a rework of the Caterpillar? It doesn't really make sense in regards to the brand that's a Drake ship, and they're currently doing, I think, more RSI stuff right now, and they like to base what they're working on off the brands to kind of stick to that kind of brand style. So it may not necessarily make sense that they revisit a Drake ship right now, but who knows, maybe the Caterpillar would get like a rework where they include modules for like base building capabilities, or this, that, or the other. So I don't know, this is something to be interesting about to see, is what classic ship there might be. So I think another, like, other people will have thought of the what is it, the Zeus. Technically they could do Zeus Mark 1, but then that would be kind of a pointless ship to add, since we already have the Mark 2, and it would basically do less than what the Mark 2 could do. And so it's like, why would you want a ship that can do less? I mean, I guess maybe it's like a cheaper starter version that gets you into the Zeus series, but I don't know, that'd be interesting. So that's, those are a couple of ideas that maybe we would see in regards to the classic ship, but I don't know, we'll see what happens there. Yeah, I mean, that covers the ships part. I mean, there's not a whole lot to really say about the ships. I mean, they're gonna do what's going to get them money. So, and I'm all for it. Sell them ships, sell them concept art for the future ships that are going to add to the backlog, even maybe. But I'm fine with that. I don't want Star Citizen to be done. So, there's that. And then revisiting the classic, it's probably the Constellation, since that's what seems to be the overall consensus. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have a kind of theory on what ship they might revisit. But that panel is only 45 minutes, so good. They're not going to spend a ridiculous amount of time on the ships, so that's always good. So I'm happy about that. But then we get it to the final panel of the actual event, and it's the Star Citizen, or the Stars My Destination Star Citizen 1.0. PvP, PvE, non-combat. What type of game is Star Citizen? If you want answers, join us as we outline a high-level overview of Star Citizen 1.0, what our intentions are for our epic shared universe. So, yeah, this is good. Probably something that should have been outlined sooner. But it's kind of hard to know when the right time for something like this to be outlined is, because you're still trying to develop so many different systems that will go into this 1.0 release. But the thing about it is, like, with them releasing it at this point, this particular overview of defining what Star Citizen is, I know, and I've heard this from every other YouTuber that's talked about this particular panel, and it makes sense, and I have to agree. It's like, when they go over this, it's probably gonna stomp a lot of toes. It's going to be something that will actually define what is Star Citizen 1.0, what is expected for it to be a viable product, and what many people kind of have envisioned in their minds on what Star Citizen is. It's definitely not gonna be what they envision, because we are all different. We all have our own like thoughts and our own desires, and what we want and what we don't want. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a good panel, I think, in the overall arching scheme of things. And maybe the news of the Squadron 42 release date, if that is what's going to happen, of course, may kind of overshadow the bad aspects of the 1.0 panel. And maybe that's why they're doing that first, but it's kind of weird that they're doing this as the last panel, just because, you know, that's the last thing that you're gonna leave with people, and that's gonna be the last thing that they're gonna have to like chew on and think about. But they need to do it. They need this panel because they really need to determine what Star Citizen is going to be. What is the vision? Has the vision changed from the original vision? And I hope they compare the two. I hope they kind of maybe even have some clips from the original Kickstarter video that Chris Roberts did, of like all the things that he wants, and all of the different things that they had envisioned for Star Citizen that they outlined in earlier Citizencons. It would be kind of cool if they actually referenced some of that, and then be like, all right, that's what we were thinking, but this is the reality, or that's what we were thinking, and hey, look, we stuck to that. You know, I hope to see a little bit of a comparison of that. Maybe I think that'd be pretty good, especially if you can really highlight a lot of the things that stayed true to the vision. But then obviously you're going to have that segment where you're going to probably see the deviations from the original thought, like original plans. And so hopefully those don't outweigh all the stuff that remains the same. If they have stayed pretty true to the overall vision of Star Citizen, people may not necessarily get their feelings hurt as much as people are expecting. And I'm hoping that's the case. Obviously somebody will. Somebody's going to complain about it. But at the end of the day, this is a very needed thing to go over. So I'm happy that they're doing it. Probably should have been a lot sooner than now, but you know, there's only time. The only time there is now. So might as well just go for it. Rip the band-aid off, CIG. So that's all I have to say in regards to that. But I don't know, some of the things that I guess you know, I would expect to see. You know, obviously a lot of these things that have finished for gameplay, obviously base building is definitely going to be something that will definitely be a 1.0 thing, for sure. Probably even the final iteration of it, or maybe not. I shouldn't say final. You know, the vision that is like considered a 1.0 worthy version of base building. If that makes sense. That's kind of a cop-out explanation, but that's kind of the best way I could explain it. There were some other things that I saw that were like getting ready to wrap up or something earlier. Rough and ready. Customizations. That's not it. Or gameplay pillar. Charge and drain. Crafting. Obviously crafting is another big one. And they're saying it's just going to go to January, so that'd be interesting. Um, Engineering is a big one. I don't know when they've said that they want engineering. I think they were trying to get that as a 4.0, so that may not be something that they would really cover too in depth, if at all. There were some other things though that I thought I saw that went kind of much further. Oh yeah, the quantum traveling experience. That's probably definitely a 1.0 thing. I could see that being a 1.0 deal. So they'll probably go more in depth on what that entails. Even though they went pretty in depth last year with it, I'm wondering if there's going to be a little bit more stuff that is involved with that. Maybe even better star map capability or functionality, and like, you know, local maps of planets, you know, what they've always envisioned. I don't know if that would be considered quantum travel or vehicle radar / scanning, probably more so this area, but you know, being able to see the landscape would be massive, and I think that's something we will definitely see in a 1.0, hopefully sooner. I would love to see stuff like that in 4.0, but being able to plot or put a marker on a planet, we're gonna need something like that before base building, before the first iteration of base building is in, because we're gonna need to be able to put a custom marker where we set up shop. Now the game may automatically do that for you, but if they can dynamically place markers where your base is, then they should already by this point have it to where anybody can place a marker, I would think. So I think that's important, and especially for exploration gameplay, being able to sell that data to other players would be nice. So we really need waypoints and markers and stuff like that fully integrated. Hacking is probably another 1.0 thing, maybe. I don't know. That they've said for years that they've been working on hacking, and I know they put it on the back burner for a while, so I would hope that they would have some form of hacking by 1.0. I think that it could be an interesting gameplay loop. So stuff like that would be very nice. And then weapon misfire and wear. That may be something that we see for 1.0 as well. They would go more in depth with that type of stuff again. I mean, they've already covered misfires and wear pretty in depth the last couple of Citizencons, so maybe not, but I don't know if that's like something that would be like needed for 1.0, but it may be something that does come in 1.0. Who knows? Or it could be like 4.1 or 4.2, stuff like that. Yeah, there's really not like a whole lot that I see that's like, all right, this is like 1.0. At least the stuff that they're currently working on. It kind of feels like a lot of the stuff that's not really highlighted that they're working on is needed to be a 1.0. So I don't know. There's so many things that probably do need to be done for 1.0, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot, at least on the progress tracker, for that. Oh, new player experience is another one that's probably very important to get down, especially before 1.0. So it'll be interesting to see what they have in store for that, because there's actually work that just ended for that. So maybe that's a 4.0 deal that they're adding. But I don't know. Once again, I don't see a whole lot of things that are major like features that they're currently working on, unless you guys can think of stuff that you can see being considered 1.0 Star Citizen. I mean, I really think it's just mainly base building. Base building is like the thing that I would say is like, all right, this is 1.0. And of course, dynamic server meshing. Well, I'll give you that one too. Like that one is a big one in terms of the tech. Like we're still not quite there yet. We're almost there with server meshing, but we're not quite there yet because we still got one more step, and that's the dynamic stuff. So obviously that will be a 1.0 thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. This Citizencon. They keep claiming that it's going to be the best, or the best one to date is the terminology that I've heard them say. Let's see. Yeah, back and bigger than ever. But there was also they claim that it's going to be the biggest and best. Star Citizen or Squadron or best Citizencon to date, and that's a big bold claim to make. And I think really the only reason I think that they're making that claim is this section right here. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is great stuff on day 2, but I think this section, what goes on in this, is why it's going to be considered the best, because I think it will, like, in order for them to top anything that they've done in previous Citizencons, it would have to be a nailed down, confident, and actual release date that they actually stick to. Like, all right, it's done, it's ready. We're, you know, right now it's just a period of marketing, and then boom, it's in your guys' hands. I'm hoping that's kind of how they word it. It's like it's pretty much done. Like there might be like a handful of different things that they have to tweak here and there, but I'm wanting them to be like, all right, it's Squadron 42, it's ready. It just, we want to market it out, and then we have a couple of last minute things to do, and we'll get it in your guys' hands, and then boom, that's when the release date comes, you know, stuff like that. So I think that's the only really big reason why they're claiming it, because I mean, I don't see them getting that far into the crafting and base building stuff in 1 year since they started in Q1. And I mean, there's only so much you could do in a hour-long presentation in regards to your different systems. So unlike, like, I don't know, like if they were gonna get through 3 or 5 systems, it'd be kind of hard to get through 3 or 5 in detailed in 1 hour, if that makes sense. Kind of didn't word that really that great, but yeah, like 1 hour to cover multiple systems would probably be a lot. And so I think it's realistic to only see 1, maybe 2 other systems other than Nyx in that particular section, and that wouldn't really like wow me that much unless they're like, all right, but and Nyx and these other 2 systems are going to be shipped together. Something like that would be pretty impressive. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see on that panel. But really, there's nothing too catching other than this redacted section. And that's what I think is going to push this Citizencon over the edge of being the best Citizencon to date. But we'll see, and that's something that the community will have to kind of come up with in terms of the verdict on did they live up to that hype that they've established themselves, because they've been saying since like March that this was going to be the biggest Citizencon to date. So pretty big claim, especially following probably the best to date with last year's Citizencon. I mean, the stuff that they showed off, especially with server meshing actually working in a very controlled environment, mind you, but they showed a working prototype of it, and like that I think alone was just massive. And I think that's what kind of re-sparked some faith in CIG by the community. So anyways, that's really it for this stream. I mean, I would like, I'll maybe stick around for a little bit longer if you guys want to kind of engage and have your own comments and what you guys think, your own predictions. I'm all ears for the next few minutes. Kind of hang out and go from there. But just quick reminder, 4 o'clock US Central Time, which is Oklahoma's same timeline, or more known Chicago. 4 o'clock is when I will begin the stream. It should be about 30 minutes before they go live, and then yeah, we will watch this thing together and react to it and get excited, get hyped, maybe get disappointed, maybe. I'm just kidding. I think we'll all get pretty hyped after, especially day one. So I'm excited, and yeah, there's that. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch me rant for the last hour and a half, or however long it's been. I had fun putting this together, and I definitely wanted to have a video that got the information out there that I do plan on doing a watch along. So I'm almost fully ready for it. I'm gonna get purchase a 7-day trial. Get a 7-day trial for an ad blocker, so there won't be any interruptions during the whole presentation. But I'll do that like probably the morning of, or the day before, maybe, in preparation for that. So I'll get that sorted, so that way we don't have any of those pesky ads popping up throughout the stream. And then yeah, I think that covers that. So yeah, if you guys just want to hang out for a little bit and talk about whatever, I'm all ears. Here's just like a few facts, maybe, in the short amount of time, in regards to what to know about it. Trying to think of what would be relevant to people who are not going to the event, because there's some stuff that are meant for people that are actually going. So, like, for example, I can't make it to Manchester. Will the event be live streamed? And yes, it's 100% free to the live stream. We will be broadcasting live at www.twitch.tv/StarCitizen. So if you guys don't want to watch my reaction as we watch the Citizencon, you can definitely go hit that link to the actual Twitch stream itself, and I'm sure other YouTubers or other people will actually have it stream on YouTube as well. I'm not sure if Star Citizen is going to be streaming it directly to YouTube, but I know it will definitely be on Twitch. Am I allowed to rebroadcast Citizencon on my own channel? Yes, so that applies to this channel. So we got official permission there. There is a goodies pack if you're interested. I can't remember if there's limited stock of that, and I might have seen it sold out. I could be wrong. Will there be physical swag bags? So that doesn't really apply to us. Can I buy multiple tickets? No, that doesn't apply. How many tickets? How will I give it to tickets come? If I am not attending, okay. Here's one. If I'm not attending Citizencon, am I still able to get a digital goodies pack? Yes, the digital goodies pack will be available on the Pledge Store separately for those unable to attend. The Premium Experience Digital Goodies Pack will not be available to those with a Premium Experience ticket. Interesting. Interesting. Will not be available. So I guess maybe it's included, and that's why they don't want you to like double purchase the same goodies pack. It's kind of a weird thing. What should I bring? The ticket, okay. Can I come and cosplay? Yes, of course, because they have an entire an entire thing dedicated to it. Excuse me, to cosplay. Is there age restriction? Can non-backers require? No. And there's a lot of ticket questions. I guess it makes sense. Here we go. Will there be any new merchandise available at Citizencon? Well, of course at, but will there be on the actual page that you can order? That'd be an interesting question. Is there somewhere to leave my bag and coat? Yes, all attendees will encourage their visitors coat check. Interesting. Security at the minute. So yeah, most of the facts are for attendees there who are actually going to the event, but I guess more other relevant information. It'll be Saturday and Sunday, October 9th and the 20th, and it will start at 10. Well, the event itself starts at 9 BST, but here in Oklahoma it'll start at, well, the event would start at like 3 o'clock, I think, something like that, but the actual like streaming doesn't start until 10:30 BST, which if you convert that to US Central Time, that's like 4:30. So that's when the, or 4 o'clock is when my stream will start, and we will, of course, watch them as they start the stream at 4:30 a.m. So, but that's really that. I mean, I guess it doesn't really seem like anybody has anything else to say. So once again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I hope this was somewhat enjoyable, and I hope I had some interesting takes on what I think Citizencon 2954 will bring to us. I think it's gonna be exciting regardless of what they show off. I think, you know, these are always exciting. I look forward to them every single year since I started officially watching and following this project, and back in like 2017, 2018. And yeah, it gets better and better every year, and I don't see why this couldn't, but it's gonna kind of all ride on this one section here. But I think, you know, if all pans out in that regards, it'll be great. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys Saturday. You guys take care.